A submarine is a steel cylinder the size of a building. Loaded, it weighs thousands of tons, and yet it sinks on command, hangs motionless in black water, and rises again, gently, precisely, on purpose. No cables, no anchors. The whole trick comes down to one simple trade: air for water, water for air. Today we slice a submarine open and watch how a machine learns to weigh exactly as much as the ocean it displaces. Everything that floats obeys one rule, written down over 2,000 years ago. Push an object into water, and the water pushes back, with a force equal to the weight of the water shoved aside. If the object weighs less than that displaced water, it floats. More, and it sinks. Exactly the same, and it hovers. A submarine does not cheat this rule, it exploits it, by changing its own weight while its size stays fixed. Slice the boat open and you find two skins. Inside is the pressure hull, a thick ring of special steel, often more than 2 inches deep, curved into a near-perfect cylinder. This is where the crew lives, sealed at surface pressure. Around it, in many designs, wraps a thinner outer casing, shaped for smooth flow. The space between the two hulls is not wasted. It holds the machinery of weight itself, the main ballast tanks. A main ballast tank is beautifully simple. It is a steel chamber with a hole at the bottom, open to the sea, and a valve at the top kept shut. On the surface, the tank is full of air. That trapped air keeps water out, the same way an upside-down glass holds a bubble in a sink. Full of air, the boat is lighter than the water it displaces. So it floats. The tank is a lung, holding its breath. To dive, the boat exhales. Vents at the top of each ballast tank swing open. The trapped air roars out in a plume of spray, and seawater floods up through the openings below. In seconds, tanks that held air now hold tons of ocean. The submarine's size has not changed, but its weight has climbed past the weight of the water it displaces. Gravity wins. The bow tilts down, and the boat slides under. Sinking forever is not the goal. The crew wants neutral buoyancy, weight and lift in perfect balance, so the boat hangs in the water like a held note. Main ballast tanks are all or nothing, so fine-tuning falls to smaller trim and compensation tanks deep inside the hull. Pumps move seawater in or out, a few hundred liters at a time, until the needle settles. Get it right, and thousands of tons float in place, weightless. Balance has a second axis. If the bow is heavier than the stern, the boat noses down even when its total weight is perfect. So trim tanks sit at both ends of the hull, linked by a pipe. Pumping water forward tips the nose down. Pumping it aft lifts the nose up. The crew shifts a few tons back and forth until the deck sits level. It is a seesaw, played slowly, with seawater as the rider. Once the boat is moving, it gains a faster way to change depth. Hydroplanes. These are short wings, one pair near the bow or on the sail, one pair at the stern. Tilt them, and flowing water pushes against their angled faces, exactly like air over an aircraft wing. Angle the planes down, and the sea presses the boat deeper. Angle them up, and it climbs. Underway, a submarine does not just sink, it flies. Every 10 meters down adds roughly one more atmosphere of pressure. At 300 meters, the sea pushes on every square inch of the hull with about 30 times the force of the air you feel now. This is why the pressure hull is a circle in cross-section. A ring spreads a squeeze evenly, with no weak corners. Go too deep, and even good steel gives. Every submarine has a crush depth, and the crew stays well above it. Going down is easy. Coming back demands a stored secret, compressed air. Long steel flasks, charged to around 200 or 300 atmospheres, line the spaces between the hulls. That bottled air is the boat's return ticket. Compressors refill the flasks whenever the submarine runs near the surface, sipping from the atmosphere through a snorkel or an open hatch. The crew guards this reserve carefully. Down in the deep, air is the one thing the ocean will not provide. To surface, the sequence runs in reverse. Valves open and high-pressure air blasts into the tops of the ballast tanks, forcing seawater back out through the bottom openings. Each tank fills with gas, the boat sheds tons of weight, and buoyancy takes over. In an emergency, every flask dumps at once, an emergency blow, and the submarine leaps upward, breaking the surface bow first in a burst of white water. Most days, though, the rise is slow, controlled, and quiet. Run the whole dive once more. One rule: a boat sinks when it weighs more than the water it displaces. 2 hulls, a thick pressure ring inside, ballast tanks around it. Open the vents and air leaves. Water enters, the boat goes under. Trim tanks balance it to neutral, fore and aft. Hydroplanes fly it up and down while it moves. The round hull resists the squeeze, and bottled high-pressure air blows the tanks dry, carrying the crew home. The next time you see a submarine sliding out of harbor, picture the breath it carries, tanks full of air holding it up, vents waiting to let that air go, flasks of pressure waiting to bring it back, a machine that dives not by force but by balance. That is the Cutaway. Thanks for watching. See you inside the next machine.